Right, so you've met the driver, you've seen the outside of the car. Let's get a proper good look at the car and see the heartbeat of it.
So do you want to know a bit about the car?
Just give us like a bit of the spec of the car.
Because we've not actually really been through the car yet. So.
No.
She is a 1991 Nissan S13, specifically a KPS chassis. She is running the trusty 2GZ GTE engine, roughly, I think we've touched on that a little bit already, but roughly 800 horsepower. She's mated to a G-Force 4-speed dog box, which is probably one of the best things about the car. It just means for direct shifting, and ratios are perfect, and how quickly you can shift it also is one of the biggest advantages, and even just the reliability you get from it. Rear end, we're on a GTR built diff at the back. It was actually built by Garage D, so it's a proper custom two-way running a 4:1 ratio. It is a very, very good diff, but with the power levels that we're at, we are now breaking them quite often.
How many have you had?
I think I'm on number 4 or 5. And I'm not cheap. Now these were these were the go-to upgrade for so long in this sport, but again, when you start running the grip that these cars are running now, you're breaking something, and for us it's diffs. Oddly enough, things like the prop shaft it's fairly strong. The shafts are fairly strong all over there. There's a broken one, broke my first one. Let's try to build up a new one. I need to get an actual new internal shaft. Thought it was the CV joint had failed, but broke that actually, funnily enough, in the Creel warm-up box for doing the quarter mile. Of all the grippy things the car's done, it seemed it couldn't handle the grippiness of Creel's surface.
Of all places,
this car's
Creel's
been
surface.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Creel is an old airfield that got converted into like a sanctuary for.
It's a great place. I love it.
Cars for us car guys to go and rag your car, have a race. And it's an old airfield, and they're not allowed to resurface it.
So you'll do a quarter mile time there, and if you're running, say, so our best time now is on 11.6. I'm not going to quite say up to a second, but say you're running a 13 second up at Crail, you can pretty reliably say you'll run a 12 second dead if you go to Santa Pod on an actual prepped quarter mile surface. But it's a good place. But so we broke a shaft there. In terms of the rest of the spec of the car, so. Engine side, we're running a Peregrine Performance intake and exhaust, 4-inch exhaust system, precision turbo, Walton manifold, Turbo Smart valves, and Funk Motorsport heat management, so like a turbo blanket and exhaust heat wrap. All of that was actually provided to us through our sponsor Walton Motorsport. Who make the best exhaust manifolds on the planet, and again it's one of the best things about this car. But engine wise, that's kind of most of the stuff covered with that. Drivetrain, suspension wise, we're in HSD coilovers and the Wisefab V1 kit up front. Would like to actually change that to the more modern V3 kit, just because with the power levels of the car we actually do run at an angle quite a lot. Which is not saying not on Wisefab, but the V2 and V3 kit does have a fair chunk more angle, and the V3 kit actually changes the position of the rack, so you actually move it to like a BMW style rack, front mounted. So that's one of the changes I'd like to make to the car. Rear end, same suspensions, HSD coilovers, and it is Driftworks arms, all adjustable arms in the back. Over the next year to 2 years, upgrades wise, I would like to change the differential to a Winters or a Bulldog quick change. Advantages to that is, one, they're strong, so they can take, well, they're rated for 1500 horsepower, so strong, and then because it's a quick change you can change your ratios at the track. So right now we're fixed to a 4:1, and historically we don't actually do it now, but the cheap way to change a ratio was used to be change a tyre size, so we used to do that with the BMWs. But it would be handy on certain tracks where if you're in a lot of the tracks that we run here in the UK, we're third gear for most of it, and it's just through luck that that's kind of the case, but there is certain sections of the track that you're slowing the car down and it's maybe not worth the shift to second gear, where because of the time it would take to shift down and you end up keeping it in third gear. So there's advantages to being able to change your ratio. We can make the car faster, specific to the corners that you're on at the track and that as well. So it's something I would like to get, and we could play about with. Which the weird thing is, most people that get a quick change buy one set of gears, and never understand that, buy a quick change diff and one set of gears. But that's an upgrade that is on the cards. It was going to be a potential for this season, but we're basically waiting to find out if our application gets accepted for Drift Masters season next year. But upgrades would be quick change, and I would like to upgrade it to the Wisefab rear end as well, just to add that little bit more grip into this car, which you would kind of back up as well. It doesn't really need it, but this car is extremely gripped up.
Oh, I know.
It's like we've spent a lot of time, years, working on alignments and specifically learning about how the car reacts dynamically. And we've done that with another sponsor, Edmonton Garage, where we've took data from each track. And I'm not going to give away exactly how we do it, but we do a very clever way in which we measure shock stroke and the length of how much we are compressing and squatting the rear end of the car per corners, and that's how we align the car. So you basically align the car to how much the car is going to squat down when you're on throttle. So that's when you take a look at the wheels. Now, like, you're running a lot of toe in, and you'll see there's a lot of positive camber there. And the idea in that is it's not some mad trick for that's the best drift setup. The trick is that when the car's on throttle, because of the soft spring setup, the car will compress down and you get a flat contact on the ground with the tyre. So you're all that data is very complicated, and it took a long time to get that, but it now means that we can set this car up specific to each track that we go to, and when we're there, it's known as being one of the best gripped up cars on the grid, especially when it comes to the tyres that we're running at as well. So we're running a very low compound Zestino tyre, and we fit them onto our strong wheels, who are also a sponsor as well. They are very sexy wheels.
And just a quick one, just to kind of show you, like, as I say, you look there and then you look to the front.
Oh, they're mega concave.
Just, yeah.
The fronts are, they run, of that DS35, they run 3 different specs. They are the lowest concave, but if you had them on any other standard car, it would look like mega concave. But when they're next to the extreme concave wheels, which are the most concave style, they look absolutely nuts. Makes them look flat at the front.
Jeez.
In terms of the other spec of the car, a fuel system, that's a fairly big one. You could maybe want actually. I hate that that's rusty. So one of the things we've done to the car last year.
I can't see it.
Oh really? Yeah. That's good. One of the things we've done to the car last year for getting it up to Driftmaster spec was there was a lot of safety stuff that we had to do in terms of fabrication, but we were required to run an FIA bladder fuel cell. So this fuel cell here is from Pyrotect, and it runs a Nuke CFC, and inside it's got a polyurethane bag essentially that the fuel sits in, and it's for safety. It's came from F1, and it basically just means during a crash that the fuel tank can fold round about and take a different shape and not explode and kill everybody.
That's what you want. You don't want anything like that happening.
We run a triple pump setup here. So this is a CFC unit, so it incorporates an upside down bucket, so it does away with your need for swirl pots. So we've got a lift pump in here, and we're running 2 high pressure fuel pumps that I'll not bore you with all the letters and numbers of what the pumps are, but the system's capable of delivering 1750 horsepower to an engine. So
big numbers.
We overspec. When I do something, I like to do it right once, and then it's capable. Like that's it. It's future proof. So it was Peregrine Performance that built and designed this system for us, and the system, I love it. It's just so simple. Everything's incorporated into the tanks, and it literally is a line out going up here, AN10 line up to the engine, AN line 8 back. But the car runs ethanol now as well, so one of the big changes we made to the car was stepping away from petrol, taking advantage of the properties of ethanol, which means we can push the car a lot harder. So essentially the car makes around 600 on petrol and then 800 on ethanol, and the system's actually got a clever sensor in it called Flex Fuel, which a lot of guys know about, but it was all new to me, learning curve last year. But what it means is we can actually run a mix of fuel. So this car you can just go up and put normal Vpower in it. The car will then adapt itself to that, or you can then go for a mix of ethanol, or you can go full ethanol if you want the full power of the car. Trying what else is in the car.
Well, what we can do is we can have a quick look inside as well.
In terms of management side,
we can just see I know it's like kind of basic. A race car, they all look the same almost, but it's always interesting to have a wee look in as well.
Yeah.
You show people your famous.
We've touched on your brakes already, like
your
in that.
famous, yeah.
Oh, well, that's me. I've been barred and had to take away my slidey windows, and we've grown up now, and I'm not allowed to stick my hand out the window.
Aye, but as we know,
your brakes are on it now.
Your brakes.
The Z32 EDC.
And then some yellow
turbo
stuff.
discs and pads.
Yellow stuff pads. I don't know if we'll see that just with the light, but
they've
not. It's not been out. The car's not been out for a while, so.
Yeah, they're like a wee bit rusty, but that's just what this do.
Yeah, exactly. So.
No, they probably should be alright. They're alright. Got a new brake system, a new brake. Yeah, you can take. No, I've not cleaned them properly up yet, but I'm going to give them a wee re-lacquer and stuff like that as well. But
big boy brakes.
that is our new front brake setup that we're going to put in the car.
Nice.
So we can go track driving.
Instead of boiling everything.
That's it, yeah, we've already kind of touched on it, but we did try a track day with the current setup, and just with the power that the car's got now, the brakes just weren't up for it. Just unfortunately size matters when it comes to this type of thing.
And I'm going to add, he didn't tell me he was going to put it on the track. I would have told him not to do it.
But we've got, that's a setup from, it's actually, I've not actually put it out there just yet, but they're FK8 Civic Type R calipers, which we've figured out a way to make them work, because because of the age of these cars now, there's actually very limited brake upgrades out there, and there's proper brake kits, obviously like your AP, your Alcons and stuff like that, but by the time you kit out a good 6-pot system, and if you're going to do it right, you're $6,000 to basically put a big brake kit all around in this car.
I was wanting to put the Apollo kit on it from the EP3 of all things, because it would have fit this.
Yeah.
And that was, they've got 4-pot and a 6-pot, 330 or 360.
Yeah.
And they were £1,400.
Yeah, that's still fairly decent. We'll be half that price though getting these on. So normally an upgrade for these, so it's already got
saved so much money.
Once we figured that out, Ross Colquhoun actually put us onto that, and I don't think many people have figured that out just quite yet. That normally the basic upgrade for these cars is what's already on it. Put the Z32 Targa 300 SX, whatever it is. You know the car I'm on about. Put the brakes from that. There's some guys that will run the 350Z brakes, but again, how old are 350Zs?
That's quite a common thing. A lot of people do the 350 stuff.
But they're not really overly big, and they're old calipers and stuff like that as well. So there's no real modern upgrade out there for these, but a couple of guys had stumbled across that you can make the Civic, the new FK8 calipers work on them. So we've already got our brackets made up there, got the calipers, and by the time we get discs and pads, going to upgrade the master cylinder as well. But we're going for what pads? We're going for RPX pads.
The RP ones, the RPX, the RP ones. It's one or the other. There's not a huge, massive difference in them, but there is a wee difference. There is a definite difference.
It's a full-on track pad.
They are both full-on track.
To the yellow, because the yellows aren't even really rated for track. I think
not anymore.
They were an entry-level track pad before.
They were, it was, if you were going for like a leisure kind of a track day.
Yeah.
Like I've seen people, in fairness, there's a boy I had, he was buying pads, a lot of pads for an old Renault.
Yeah.
And he went to the Berg, out to the Nürburgring, and he sent me a video of his brake, the pad's on fire.
Yeah.
Glowing, everything glowing red, and it was the yellow stuff pads I put on it, and they were on fire.
Ross Colquhoun, when we were on the Nürburgring, he took his S14 over there. He had yellow stuff pads on front and rear and was fine with them. Yeah. They're a good pad. They're perfect for what we've been using the car for, just cold, good cold bite and consistent brake feel. And the brakes are fairly good in the car, because it weighs 1,209 kilos. I want to try and get it under that. That's part of the winter project as well. But it's fairly light, despite everything that's in it, because of the level of 8-point FIE cage that's in it. So everybody thinks like proper pro spec drift cars are light. Most of them don't tend to be overly light. You can actually go too light with drift cars as well, where it ends up being a problem.
It's actually not far off factory weight again.
Well, did you see even like Peter Winsick? He's got literally dumbbells strapped to the front end of the Supra.
The actual?
Like a photo kind of got leaked a little bit. The last round of Drift Masters where the front bumper was off, and he literally had dumbbells either side of the intercooler to try and eliminate some of the understeer of the car was suffering from.
Clever.
So that's a thing that was going on for years with people doing it in the rear. There's actually rules against it nowadays where you are allowed to add weights, but you need to specifically, it's like a specific sized weight, it has to be mounted in a certain way.
Have to be like
has to be passed by scrutiny effectively.
Strength, like it'd have to be safe.
Yeah, so it's a good weight for the level of car in terms of big, fairly heavy cast iron engine, fairly heavy diff, heavy, say with the shafts and stuff like that. Every component that's on it is built for strength, so it's heavy. Then with the cage, the 8-point cage and stuff like that, so and then front rear crash structures. So there's a lot of metal still here, despite all the roof and the doors are the only metal panels still here, albeit it's just an outer skin that's on both of the roof and the doors, so everything else is fiberglass. So in terms of the external skin, everything's fairly light, but actually it's a decent weight. I'd like to try and get under the 1200 kilos though. But the brakes have been good for the spec of the car so far, but for what I intend to do with it, I'm glad we kind of stumbled across this brake upgrade.
Yeah,
as soon as I put this out there that can get done, I bet you the price of those calipers go through the roof because they're fairly cheap to pick up just now.
There you go. But yes, I certainly wouldn't recommend having 800 horse and the brake setup he had.
In 290mm discs.
And 290mm discs. I would not advise that to anybody
the
at all.
thing is as well, you've actually got bigger discs in the rear of this.
There you go.
Bigger discs in the rear. Albeit it's a smaller contact patch, but
you find that with some rear-wheel drive cars. Like I've always found that rear-wheel drive cars will have bigger brakes on the back. I've found that with dealing with a lot of brakes, it's more common to find a rear-wheel drive car with bigger brakes in the back.
And this still runs, one of the reasons for the bell being bigger as well in the back of these, it still runs the standard shoe setup for the handbrake. And funnily enough, I still have it connected because I've had other drift cars and we've took the handbrake out and I didn't like not having a handbrake, so
I've got
I still have a handbrake.
I have no handbrake.
I have a handbrake, I have heating.
I don't have either of those.
All the things that we've took out in the past and realised it was a terrible idea. And for the 5 kilo it saves, it's not worth it, so keep all that stuff.
I could reinstall my heating quite easily. It's all still in there, it's just not piped in. So let's have a quick nosy inside. Get the door open a little bit. And I'll bring us down and...
You're still recording, yeah?
Yeah, man.
So everything's nice and simple in here. I like it this way. It's clean, it's tidy. So we have a Cybil 8-point roll cage. It was built by Peregrine Performance. So that's a 6-point, and then they'd modified it into an 8-point to get it to comply with the Drift Masters regs. She's needing a little bit of a paint just now, but she has just done a full season, and usually at the end of a season we strip everything out and give everything a proper clean, get all the tyre smoke and dust and things like, drift cars, well-run plastic windows, and as much as you try to, they're never sealed. So water gets in, the feet of the roll cage always end up a little bit kind of rusty, so just needs everything stripped to give it a clean and give it a little paint. But in here, everything nice and simple, as I said. Everything painted transit white, favourite colour in the world, frozen white.
Can't go wrong with the transit.
And running Mirko bucket seats. These are extremely comfy. And then Sebelt 6-point harnesses. And I've touched on the management side of it, so Link ECU is actually down there on the footwell, next to our lightweight battery and stuff like that as well.
That is the battery, by the way. You'd think it's a foot pan. No. It's a battery.
Yeah, I have to shout at most people for that because they put their legs in pressure up against it and don't crush my battery.
I was clever enough to not do that, actually.
Yeah.
You said don't stand on it. I'm like, I'm not standing on it.
Because I'd like to start the car after the event.
Yeah.
But so we run the full Link package, so Link ECU, we get a Link dash, it is the older one, and again I've touched on that we'd like to upgrade the management on this car. There is some things going on in the background that might be able to help with that, but we have a digital display here that shows me every single input that the car has. One I'm actually really proud of is that part of our, again with the drift car, you never know your fuel level when you run an aftermarket fuel tank.
Oh, well, there you go.
One of the best flexes about that fuel system is that I have a level sensor on it, and I can tell how much fuel is in my fuel tank.
Yes.
But yeah, everything in here is fairly basic. So that's the G-Force 4-speed dog box that we've touched on, a handbrake, and then OMP steering wheel. And in terms of, we're running an S15 dash, and I've still got I've got an aftermarket heater blower in there, and I've actually got all the blowers connected, so like I said, the vents to demist the window, and the side vents to either keep you warm or demist your side windows. But simplicity is kind of the main theme in here. That is literally all my controls here in the centre console. I have got my suppression system that again was provided through Track Ready. So that is like, I've got my handheld fire extinguisher here, and behind the passenger seat is the actual suppression system that's triggered with a manual pull here and a manual pull outside the car. But everything's fairly simple, so everything's on toggle switches, so my kill switch, ignition, and then I literally have 3 switches in here for wipers, fans in the front, and internal fans, and that is it.
There we go.
There ain't much else left in here, but I like it that way. It will be nice to upgrade some of the management. Is the kind of one of the next things I would like to do, especially in terms of the wiring loom, is to get a nice wiring loom in it and upgrade the management a little bit, and just simple things that we could have like keypad centre consoles, and just tidies up the car, brings it a wee bit into the 21st century. But I think that's us kind of touched on most of the spec of the car.
Yeah, well, all I can say is thank you very kindly, Stephen. It was wonderful to come and see the car again as usual.
Welcome back anytime.
Yeah, we're good to get a catch up, and what we'll do is so yeah, just that's the car. Stephen, you've met the car, you've met the driver, you've got to know a bit about him. He's a pretty swell guy. If you ever see him at the track, avoid him, because you can't get him to shut up.
Come and buy some 313 merch first.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that. Buy some 313, ask him about the stuff I sell, he'll obviously hype it up, because it's good stuff. But yeah, avoid him, he chats too much. Nah, I'm joking.
We're usually at a lot of events, so the car's fairly well known for social media, and you can't really go to much drifting events without somehow stumbling across this car. So come and get a chat with us, and the team is that as well. The team love chatting rubbish about cars and drifting to everybody, and for the most part we're fairly open as well in terms of sharing kind of like the secrets about the car, and
sharing's caring.
Just the general advice. I like being able to, people helped us when we were kind of first starting off, so if there's somebody having an issue and there's something that one of us can help with, we'll always help and stuff like that as well, so come and get a chat.
Aye. Yeah, I'll be there as well probably if it's a more local one, but I'm trying to persuade him to take me out to these places too, so maybe next year if you're at any Drift Mech, D-Mech races, you'll probably see both Stephen, his team, and I, hopefully.
Yep, I bet.
So
the car will be at as I said, we're filming this in October. The only known event that I know we're going to right now will be Crimond at the end of April, last weekend in April.
I'll be there too.
It's usually kind of start a season, first outing. It's more of a kind of bender though, really, in all honesty.
It's good crack.
It's a good weekend to get away in, and it's one really for the drivers and the teams and that as well. Everybody stays in the same hotel, and it's a good catch up for everybody. So that'll probably be the first event, actual competition event. It'll start way before that. I'll probably get some auto solos or track days just for a bit of testing and stuff like that. But once that starts, then hopefully we have some news on the Drift Masters Championship and a plan as to what our season's going to look like. And we have backup plans in that as well, so there's lots going on in the background.
I'm taking my BM up to Crimond as well and watch my BM beat Stephen McConnell and me.
You can try.
A greenhorn. But yep, so what we'll do is we'll finish this episode here. I'm actually going to shoot another episode with Stephen, but that's another week. That might be next week or the following week, so it's not the last of them you've seen yet, and you will definitely see more of them in the future. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe. I'm really enjoying this. I'm getting a lot of traction. I'm actually quite thankful for everybody. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you next week.